I'm Reverend Michael J. Dangler, and I teach free Tuesday evening classes at the Magical Druid. Today, in this video, drawn from one of those classes, we'll talk about manifesting goals. Often, manifesting is bundled into vague, New Age spirituality tropes, and part of what we're going to do tonight is cut through those. So, manifestation is defined fairly simply as crafting your desired reality through will and action. You need to have both the will to create and the action to bring it into being. To do this, we need to focus on our clarity of intent, the desire to reach that goal, and set out a plan to mindfully work toward that goal. You cannot succeed by simply opening yourself to the universe and expecting things to happen to you or for you. This means you have to act. All the job magic in the world will not get you a job if you do not submit the application. All the magic for good health in the world does not fight cancer or get you out of going to the dentist or doctor. You have to do the work in the mundane world in order for your manifestation to become more likely. We're also likely to take credit for our mistakes, but not for our successes. Often we attribute our mistakes to our own work, but we're more than willing to accept that other forces may have been at play when we find success. As magicians, we should perceive how we balance the scales here. Do we often, or too often, believe that our successes are the result of luck, happy accidents, or happenstance? Do we ascribe with equal zeal those sorts of definitions to our failures? When we do good work and have good outcomes, we should be ready to ascribe the causation of those outcomes to the work that we did. Let your efforts pay off and build your confidence. Manifestation theories. A lot of folk think about manifestation advice online can be divided up into two basic concepts: getting and allowing. Often, those who start practicing manifestation will have a particular goal in mind, and a thing that they want. Just as often, they work to create the conditions to allow that thing to happen. There's a common formulation out there in the manifesting echo chamber: ask, believe, receive. This is, interestingly enough, a Bible quote, perhaps a paraphrase is a better word, from Mark 11:24. Once again, this places you as a passive receiver of the blessings you seek, removing your agency and leaving you to await the thing that you are trying to create. A lot of this is tied into what is called the prosperity gospel, which is a theory that the more holy you are, the healthier and happier you are, and the richer you are. Prosperity comes to those who are good. Ruin comes to those who are evil, this particular gospel states. It implies not only that as holiness increases, so does wealth, but also that those who are rich are holier because they hold the material blessings that prove that they are. It makes poverty a marker of sin in this world. Those who are poor, the gospel suggests, deserve their lot. There are a lot of problems with this gospel, and I encourage you to reject it whenever you hear it. But the problem I'm going to focus on is the passivity of it. It suggests that you need do nothing more in this world than be holy, and the world will manifest all that you need, and on top of that, all that you want. But the world does not work that way, and neither does manifestation. A lot of manifestation texts explain away things not working by suggesting the person didn't believe enough, wasn't patient enough, or had some sort of hidden sin. In other words, the problem is never with the technique, but with the person. None of us are entitled to spiritual or material blessings because of who we are as people. We all have to work for them. As a result, I would suggest that a better word for manifestation is not getting or allowing, both of which are passive experiences, but creating. That can be creating an opportunity, creating the thing you seek, or creating a pathway. but we should look at it from an active process where we are in control, rather than assuming that some external force will grant us things that we desire without any work on our part. Manifestation, then, is about understanding that we are not entitled to the things that the spiritual or physical world might grant us. Instead, we have to do the work, and sometimes we will fail. But it also means that we can get better at that work, especially as we practice it and delve deeper into it. Now, manifestation is creation. So how do we create those things? We balance magical action with real-world action. Magic can be a path to improving outcomes, to making something more likely to happen by accessing the spiritual or the non-physical. But to land on the outcome we desire, we have to work toward it in this world as well. To do this, I particularly like to merge the spiritual with the physical wherever I can. Consider the following avenues, and then work to create your own. Job applications are less often paper these days, but a good strategy with a paper application is to just dab the slightest amount of essential oil, cinnamon is good for this, on top of the right corner of the paper before handing it in. You can still do this with a physical resume when you arrive to a job interview. Just make sure it's not too overpowering. You can create a sigil for use on papers that you hand in, testing material booklets, or similar, in another good way to implement the spiritual into the physical. A lot of these tests, though, are not on paper, but an old standby for test luck is to burn a yellow candle while studying. The yellow candle is for the element of air, bringing focus and concentration to what you study and what you want to retain. Money drawing work is great to do in concert with job hunting, prospecting for leads, or even scratching off a lottery ticket. The important thing to do is to make sure that there's something physical to go along with the magical work you do. This helps increase the odds that the physical thing bearing fruit and the magical work creates something in this world. Happy manifesting.